This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll call into order at 7:02. Can I get a motion to approval of the minutes? Anyone?
I'll make a
Thank
motion.
you.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Second?
I'll second. This is Laura.
Okay, thank you, Laura. All right, we'll go moving on, department reports. We'll start with EM.
Good evening, everybody. I have two full-time medics out right now, one with hip surgery and the other one with a work-related hand injury. We expect the hand injury to be back soon, but we're monitoring that. We have no COVID cases in-house. Our PPE is good. About 75 to 80% of our staff have been vaccinated. We continue to support the health department with vaccinations and with post-vaccine monitoring. That seems to be going pretty well. Call volume is back up to normal, 600 plus a month, including a marked increase in mutual aid calls in Trumbull recently. The only issue is that because of COVID, a lot of those calls have to be billed as BLS instead of ALS. We have brought in about 8 new volunteers that are currently going through our new field training and evaluation program. We have 5 more that are on deck and 1 per diem paramedic. We have posted for volunteer and per diem EMTs and paramedics. And we renegotiated the billing contract for a cost reduction. It needs mayoral approval, but it's pretty much been done. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the EMS?
I have a question, Mr.
Right.
Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you just explain a little bit about the why you're not able to bill the calls ALS into Trumbull if you do have an ALS crew go? Maybe kind of clarify that a little bit.
It's not specific to Trumbull. I should have clarified. The increase in call volume is for Trumbull. The increase in call volume globally is, just regular. I mean, we're back up to normal call volume. The issue is that because we're not supposed to be doing a lot of aerosolizing procedures and things like that, we're not able to take advantage of the ALS 1 and 2's billing codes as frequently as we normally would. Once COVID is over, that should go away, but currently we are still seeing an impact from that.
Question that follows up on that. Understood that with the nebulizers, you're not able to do that. Are you still able to bill, however, any kind of an ALS assessment rate if you have an ALS crew and it's a Medicare patient?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying we can't do ALS billing at all. It's just down from normal because of the impact from COVID.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Yep.
Chairman, it's Greg Can.
Any other questions for EMS? Greg, go ahead.
Bill, it's Greg.
Yes, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry about that.
Greg.
Yeah, thank
you. Got it.
We have 75-80% vaccinated. And this question for all 3 departments: why not 100%?
So this is Mike. I'll start off. We're not allowed to require people to get vaccinated. So there are a small percentage of people that don't want to be vaccinated, don't want to be vaccinated yet, or just haven't, met up to the queue. I'll give you an example. We do have some volunteers who, during COVID, have taken a leave of absence. So what we've done is we've prioritized those people that are actually going to be going out into the field and doing calls and kind of pushed off the people that aren't actually out there doing it. Now, there are certain situations where those people have stepped up to help out with the vaccine clinics and things like that. And so we push them forward and get them vaccinated. But there is a small percentage that don't want to be vaccinated, and it is what it is, I guess.
And Bill,
Yep.
thank you for the answer. Well, this is a question I wanted to ask all three departments. Should I wait at the end, or do we just pose it one by one?
Hey, Greg, I can give
Yeah.
you my report and overview of all the vaccination to make it easier.
Oh,
It's fine.
right, Larry, that would be perfect. I had a different question, than which I'll hold to the end under new business.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, then we'll wait for Larry's report for the back to the vaccination. Any other questions for the EMS? All right. Dispatch report.
Yeah, Greg, I'll give that dispatch report. And then one thing on the dispatch report, Carol, I will give you JP Brzezinski's contact info. So next month you can invite him into the meeting. But right now, you know, they're operating fully staffed. They have the excuse me, I ate right before this meeting. I know I should have done that. Brian Lamport's laughing there. Yes, it was brand cereal at my advanced age. They have the additional fourth dispatcher in from 12 to 2000 hours, and that seems to be working because that appears to be the target time for the day. So that additional dispatcher is really assisting, and there's been no issues with dispatch.
Okay. Any questions for Larry on that? All right. Police department report.
Good evening, everybody. So we have a slight uptick over last month to this month, roughly 4%. But that brings us actually still below where we were last year at this time. We had, like a little more disorderly calls and things like that. Good news is we finally got academy seats. We have 4 in the Milford Academy going forward around April 15th timeframe. So that's good. So we'll get some new recruits. We're also looking at some certified guys to join our department. We've had one person that's in quarantine now on COVID, but nothing serious. He's got no, symptoms. I expect his return early next week. That's about it. Otherwise, we're doing okay.
All right. Any discussion for the chief? I have a quick question, Chief. Looking at the report, I saw a number of self-police reports were 0. Was that successful when during the COVID was at its peak? People were making a lot of reports from home, and are we encouraging it, or it just didn't work out for the self-police reporting?
No, it did work out. We just got to do a better job of publicizing it, and we kind of fell off that a little bit. But it seems like a lot of people want that one-on-one contact. But we're going to continue. We're going to always have that system in place because it's still a very good system and it's more efficient for everybody involved.
Okay. And you mentioned a few certified guys, girls coming over, a few officers. Are they retirees or just making lateral transfers from other departments?
Retirees mainly. We have one looking for a lateral, though it's from Baltimore. So he's, I want to say he has 6 years on, and the other 2 are retired.
Okay. All right. Fire department report.
Good evening, everybody. Fires have been up a little bit this month. It seems like everybody's being staying home is they're lighting fires in the fireplace. A lot of smoking incidents. So So you can see on the report that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 fires of any substance in the past month, which is, I guess it's a lot for January. But everybody being in the house, it kind of explains it. We have no current cases of COVID in the fire department, which is a plus for us. I have 4 guys out on long-term sick, 3 that are having surgery type injuries, and 1 with a family matter. Other than that, for the fire marshal side, we've been doing a lot of plan review, a lot of interest in building in town, which is nice. They've been busy doing their inspections. We've also been applying for some grants. It's grant time of year. So we have, we're working on 2, possibly 3 grants that should happen in the next month. And with that, I think that's it. Our boat is out of the water for at least another month until the water can get free of any ice that may accumulate.
All right. Any questions for the fire chief?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions for him.
Yes, go ahead.
Part of it, this is questions that are kind of piggybacked onto prior months. Now that we've kind of seen the EMS call volumes gone back up to normal again, and we didn't really discuss the vaccination numbers with you guys yet. I know Larry's going to talk about that in a bit. What are your plans on bringing the department back to normal EMS responses if they haven't already? So
we were waiting to let the state get stabilized, get to a comfortable number. It's as simple as flipping a switch. So we're getting real close to doing that. We're not going to hold back in any way.
You know what do you have like a specific number, a specific target you're looking for with regards to, is it based on state infection rates? What are we looking at so we kind of know how close we're getting to it?
It's kind of tiered. So we are watching the state. So we're waiting to get to like a 3% mark that we can bring it back up to full staff. We're getting close to that. It seems like we teeter back and forth a little bit. We almost pulled the trigger about 2 months ago, and then obviously, things went bad. So we're right there. We're ready to go.
Another question I had for you as well, and I know this hadn't been brought up yet, but with regards to the Knox box systems and the new systems that are coming through, with regards to the fact it's all going to be keyless and battery operated now, where are you guys with trying to make that changeover? Because I know it's going to involve new units for all the vehicles, and all the business owners in town will also have to be somewhat involved, whether it's the town paying for it or the individual business owner. Where are we with that?
Okay, the town is not going to be liable for paying for the building Knox boxes. We would only provide the digital boxes to our apparatus, which we have now. So all our Knox boxes in the apparatus are radio controlled. We have flawless. We haven't had any problems with those.
These are the new systems, right? The ones with the battery in it as well, the separate.
They're not the new systems. The newer ones that are coming out, I haven't seen any yet, to be honest with you. I know they're always changing them up, but it's a huge expense if the town was to pick that up.
Yeah, I know that we've had to go over to it entirely because Knox won't provide the old systems anymore. So that's where my curiosity was coming from.
That always seems to be the problem. They get proprietary.
And 2 last questions. We've had one from last year that we really never got a final answer on. And is the dive team gone back in service at all, or is that not gone back in service? What is our status?
It is not in service at this time.
And then one final question, which is an easier question. Do you have an annual hydrant inspection by the companies in town to make sure so you identify like the frozen hydrants in town ahead of time that you know about? As I hadn't heard anything about it, and I just didn't know if you did or didn't.
Okay, we pay the Aquarion Water Company. We pay them over $1 million a year to maintain the hydrants. So that is their responsibility. They do annual checks on the hydrants. I don't think they do it 100%, but they're out there doing their checks. Anytime we flow water at any incident, we have to notify them, and then they come out and flush it.
Okay, so it's nothing done by the companies in town. It's just reliant entirely upon Aquarian and their ability or willingness to come out and inspect the system, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Nothing more. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the fire?
Bill, it's Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, two follow-ups to Mr. Duffy. One, I don't know what a Knox box is. And two, should Aquarium be providing us with the report on how they're maintaining the fire hydrants? You know, just so we can keep track of their effectiveness.
So they generally do give us an update. The system, much of Stratford is very, very old. The main piping, and in the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of failures in the pipe. So they've been replacing large sections. What they try to do is they try to find any new subdivisions going or any major construction. They try to pass the buck onto that project. And they get a lot of pushback, obviously, but there's a lot of main stretches in town that are in bad shape, but they're responsible for it. You know, that's not something we can make them do. They provide us with the water. It hasn't failed us yet. We're really at their mercy. We pay them a lot of money to maintain it. So, and as far as the Knox box goes, what a Knox box is, it's basically a safe. And each municipality has a different key code. Currently, you know, that might change a little bit in the coming years. So Stratford has its own key that only the fire department has access to. The owner of the property doesn't even have access to it. So what they do is they put a key to their building, their facility in that box, much like many town buildings have it too. This way we don't have to damage any property getting in. We actually have the key. We can open the box. You could set it up as it would trigger your burglar alarm. The PD would show up also. There's many different features towards it. They make them bigger for books, so we can see what's in the building. We can research maps and all that stuff. So that's what that is. It's basically a safe, so we have access to the building 24 hours a day.
Thank you, Brian.
Any other
questions, Greg?
I just had a, go ahead.
Laura, you have a question? You're on mute, Laura.
Sorry, my computer kept.
Okay.
I just had another hydrant related question. Over the recent storm that we had with the snow, and then thank you, Chief Lampart, for coming out and addressing one of my constituents that had an issue with the hydrants being buried by the snow plows. So who would be responsible for that in general? Would it be the fire department, the homeowner, public works?
We do take advantage of the personnel on duty to go out and shovel hydrants. But if they're busy, then that's not going to happen. So, I mean, generally speaking, the town should have some sort of ordinance in place to require the property owner to clear their hydrant. It's for their protection, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is if nobody does it,
Most people do.
deep freeze, that's going to be like a block of ice around that hydrant, and you might as well call it useless.
So those little markers that get put around hydrants and areas, do you guys put those out along the hydrants, or are those put out by residents?
No, we put those out. We
course.
received those from Aquarian about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago. And they distributed a good handful to each municipality. And that's just in the event that nobody shovels the hydrant. At least we can find where it is and we can attempt to clean it if needed.
But there is no official ordinance to require residents to do that.
There is not.
Do you think that it would be of benefit to work on something like that?
I do.
Okay, I think so too. But
Public Works. You have to ask.
who's number 6?
Yeah, somewhere in caller 6.
I don't know who that was.
Mike, you have a phone number for who called in on caller 6?
I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
Right.
well, Public Works is out there plowing, so I don't think that they need to have a truck follow the plow to unshovel hydrants for whoever that was that made that comment. But honestly, I do think it should be the residents' responsibility, and I do appreciate that the fire department comes out once in a while to address specific issues. So thank you.
Like some old fogey going out there and getting a backache.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either. Mike, maybe put the callers on mute.
Maybe I'll leave.
All right. Next report, or any other questions for the fire chief? All right. Emergency management and public safety report, Larry.
Thank you, Chairman. So to dovetail what Chief Lampert was talking about, I had a similar situation, 7 or 8 complaints during this previous couple storms regarding sidewalks. And there is an ordinance in town that the intersecting property that the sidewalk in, the residents have to shovel it. So I provided Chief McNeil with a couple of situations so patrol could go out there and remind them that it's their job to clean the sidewalks. So it was the first time in probably almost a half dozen years that that occurred. And I think the issue with the fire hydrants and the sidewalks is cropping up because we haven't had this kind of snow over this continual period of time in a long time. So we'd have a snowfall, weather would turn warm a day or two later, and they would all dissipate. Now this week we're having 2 more after this. So I think that you know, unfortunately the sidewalk issue and the fire hydrant issue is rearing its ugly head because we're having continuous snowfall over an extended period of time. Speaking of that, we've done really great coordination with Public Works regarding the snow. I know they've done a tremendous job of dealing with this, with issues with their staffing. They've been coordinating with us very well, and so I don't see that abating. So you know, good kudos to them. Regarding other things that's going on in town, PPE is fine from a public safety and a town staff perspective. Coordination with the Board of Ed has resulted in more PPE at the Board of Ed level than they originally anticipated. That being a result of tremendous amount of burn rate with the younger kids, more than they had originally anticipated. You know, I think these kids either, you know, lose them on a bus, eat them, use them for art projects. I don't know what they do, but they're losing them at a much higher rate. We try to supplement as much as we can without impacting any of the public safety departments. But this time out, they had to go buy some more of the smaller size ones for the students. Speaking of Board of Ed, I have a meeting once a week with the union, along with Superintendent Robinson. And what we found is by doing that, we've kind of quelled a lot of concerns regarding the states changing the mandatory priority listing for vaccination. By explaining to the board, which they then could speak to their own constituents about it, is reduce some heartache moving forward. You know, I'm on, you know, I've said this before, and I'm on, I'll make the statement here that I don't like the order that the state put it in, but they put it in that way, so we have to kind of execute how we're doing with that. Regarding the vaccination program, I think EMS is about 80%, fire is about 65%, and police is slightly below 50%. I think police does, they're adding a few people weekly, so I think that number will grow. Probably to that 60-65%, but as soon as they saw their fellow comrades there not, you know, falling tremendously ill or, you know, growing an eye in the middle of their forehead from the vaccination, more people would get the vaccination. And that's what's happening. They're coming in dribs and drabs. We had a problem at the front end with the vaccination regarding the location. The location had to be broken down every time we did a vaccination. But coordination with the Board of Ed has allowed us now to keep the vaccination location up and running, or at least set up between the vaccinations so they don't have to take it down and put it back up again. So, that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Larry. Any questions for Larry?
I have a quick question, I guess, for all of you. There were EMS staff and other staff members, I'm assuming, that chose to not become vaccinated, which you explained was their right. So my question is, these people that are choosing, or these employees really, who are choosing not to be vaccinated, are they able to go out on a call to someone's house?
Yes.
Do they
Yes, everybody's protected. Everybody's, we have gear that we have to wear, so everybody's protected so they don't get exposed.
Okay.
Or expose the patient.
Well, right. That's my concern.
I mean, Laura, we're still going out with our masks on, even if we have been vaccinated. So it really hasn't changed our operational plan, regardless if you've been vaccinated or not, from a public safety perspective.
So the vaccine locations, Birdseye School, and where's the other? Is there more than one?
No, just Birdseye is the only one we have. And right now we're doing, we've upped the tempo. So I think we should be able to get to between 780 and 150 a week now, moving forward at that location.
And you have enough of the supply?
Yes, and the health department, along with fire and EMS, has done a great job. We've brought in EMS personnel to provide vaccination. We had a couple of fire personnel help out, and it's really allowed us to create a bigger bandwidth in order to get more people through the pipeline.
Good news.
All right. Table items. We don't have any table items. Any new business or other business? Greg, do you have something?
I did, Bill. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I haven't asked for each of the departments, from emergency management through the fire department, EMT, police department. But first, I don't want to undervalue or minimize the level of community service that you guys and your teams do above and beyond, quote, the call of duty. I mean, every department, whether it's inspecting homes for fire safety, volunteering at clinics, there's just hundreds of things that you do already. What my ask is, and I don't think I need an answer tonight, but more just to position an answer for the future, is an inventory of those over and above community service things that you do, in addition to, let's say, your statutory mandates or your regulatory mandate. The idea is to demonstrate to the community that our staff, law enforcement, public safety, essential workers are making that commitment to the town and doing it in many ways, and to sort of beat the drum that the community can, to encourage the community to recognize it, one, and to partner up to kind of like build on the energy. So with cognition that you guys are already doing many things, the ask is, can we try to inventory that and advertise that in the interest of encouraging more reciprocity from the community, more engagement, if you will.
Greg, can I answer that?
Yes.
I don't think it's what we do, but it's how we do it. I think people look up to the way Stratford operates. We're not doing much different as far as the amount of work that we're doing. It's how we're doing it. I think we represent very well to the public, and they appreciate that.
And yeah, I hope I was clear. I'm not minimizing that. It's just if there was an opportunity to encourage more, for example, I'm opening my door so you guys can come in and inspect the home for fire safety. Maybe in COVID, it's not a good time to do that, but if we see an opportunity for more people to use the Ring doorbells, for example, because we have these communication channels, whether it's the tip hotline or something, it's a way for people to just know that they have partners and encourage them to engage at a higher level than they have. And maybe we're, quote, doing best practices right now, but if there was an opportunity, that's just an open ask that I wanted to put on the table. And I don't need answers tonight. It was just directional.
Okay.
That's it, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Anybody else want to touch on that, or anybody else have any other?
Yeah, I have one other thing, and I had my notes here, and I didn't bring it up, and Greg's statement kind of reminded me. So I think that one of the things that we have to look at, and they've done an extraordinary job, is a medical reserve corps. And I've mentioned this on a few other calls, and these are volunteers that for the most part have some kind of medical background, but you don't have to. But there's probably a key group of maybe 50 people that have been working almost weekly with this pandemic, or at least monthly, in all different facets of helping the town out. I mean, for want of not getting paid, you'd almost consider them an employee because you see them so frequently. And I don't know, is there anything now that we're going to do, but I know that I talked to Andrea about it, and her staff about at least getting them, Starbucks cards or something to give them to reward all the time and effort they're putting in. I mean, without them, we couldn't do a food distribution. And Greg, you know that because you've seen me at those food distributions. We couldn't run these clinics without them at all. And really, it's been incredible amount of a reservoir of talent and effort for these people that have been volunteering for since the pandemic started.
Cool. Another good group. Kind of maybe who are they? The Red Cross used to have a similar organization. They're not in town anymore, so the health department's kind of organizes medical response team, which is a good asset, great asset.
Just on a community engagement topic here, I don't know if it was.
Go ahead.
I don't know if it was just me but I noticed over the past few weeks that the police department, especially on their social media site, I've seen a lot more community engagement on their platforms. But I don't know if that was intentional or just something in the algorithms of my social media, but I definitely noticed. Just want to make a comment about that.
Yeah, exactly. We just stepped it up, and we realized we were lacking very much so in the social media aspect of it. So we're going to try to be more timely to get the information out as quickly as possible, so that people know that there's crime in the area or what they should be doing, locking the cars, etc. So it's an ongoing. It was intentional. So
I agree with that, Chris. I noticed that too. Probably we're on some of the same threads there, and a lot of good positive stuff from the PD, and then some of the arrests. They could see the activity of the police and some of the arrests for the week, and good tips of safety and all that. Yeah, that's good. I hope they keep that up and even add more to that. That's good.
Mr. Chairman, just for Chief McNeil, kudos to whoever came up with the Valentine's Day post. It was quite amusing, and quite a few people got a good chuckle on that one.
yeah, I can't take credit for that. It's a Somerset Police Department mass repost. So we co-opted.
But Joe, you had the same idea though anyway, so it just happens you use their format.
Right, Larry?
Joe is festive. We all know that. Any other new business? All right. Go ahead.
Bill, one last, I mean, we can wait till the mayor releases the budget, but you have a few counselors on the call. Is there anything we should look forward to or try to advocate for, or will we just all cross that bridge in a couple of months?
Good point.
I'll just start with the police department. We got a big request coming in under the bond for cameras. The cameras we bought are now on 3.5 years old and not supported anymore. These are body cams. Also car cams we were in need. So it's going to run almost $350,000 in the bond.
All right. Take note to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing we're replacing them. I just hate this planned obsolescence technology. Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Okay. A motion to adjourn? Jim, thank you. Second? Anyone second?
Greg.
Chris, thank you. Greg. All right. That's it. 7:39. Thank you, guys.
Good night,
Thank you, everybody. Have a good month.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.